These are my latest SEC football power rankings as week number 6 of the season approaches. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, guys. We appreciate you all getting us to 25,000 subscribers on YouTube. Now the chase to 30,000 is officially on, and we can't do it without your love and support. Also, guys, make sure you check out our friends over at FANDUEL because, as always, we are brought to you by our friends at FANDUEL, FANDUEL.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FANDUEL.com/SECU to get in on the action today. It was another exhilarating weekend of SEC football. Week number 5's in the books. Week number 6 is officially upon us, and these are my latest SEC football power rankings, starting down at the bottom at number 16. And, of course, as you would expect, the Kentucky Wildcats hold on to the cellar for yet another week, and I would fully expect them to be there for the duration of the entire season. They got throttled Saturday night at South Carolina. The offense is a complete disaster. There's not a program with less juice in this conference than Kentucky. They are simply ready for basketball season. At number 15, guys, I got the Arkansas Razorbacks, who are now without Sam Pittman. The Hogs are officially on the search for a new head coach. Going to be really interesting to see who takes that job down there in Fayetteville. We know who the interim is. Time is a flat circle, is it not? As Bobby Petrino is back in the saddle at Arkansas. Obviously, guys, they get dismantled against Notre Dame. You could actually argue that Arkansas could be in the 16 spot, but I still think with Taylon Green and some of the other pieces they have, and with Bobby P calling the shots, I think on a neutral field, the Hogs would beat the Cats. At number 14, guys, I've got the Florida Gators. This is the team we are going to see in person this weekend as the SEC Unfiltered Tour embarks on Gainesville. What does Florida give you out the bye week? This really feels like kind of the last hurrah for Billy Napier and any opportunity he may have to win over or win back some Florida fans. And it may even be too late for that as you sit 1-3 overall. But Texas comes to town. You're at the Swamp. I do think it'll be a good crowd. There should be a little bit of juice in the building. But if you can't come out, put together a good showing, it's officially over. It's officially over, I'll say, for Billy Napier. Guys, number 13, I've got the Auburn Tigers. Auburn completely dysfunctional on the offensive side of the football. I think Jackson Arnold at this point kind of is who he is. Guys, I told you coming in the season, I didn't trust Hugh Freeze. I still stand on that. I still don't trust him. Listen, defensively, you're going to have a shot every week. But with Jackson Arnold, that offense, that offensive line, I don't see this thing getting much better. I think Auburn's going to be sitting around that bowl eligibility mark, maybe getting to 7-5. And the question will simply be, will that be good enough to get Hugh Freeze back in 2026? My gut tells me no. At number 12, I've got South Carolina, guys. The Gamecocks get a big win over Kentucky. Doesn't really change much of my opinion about them as they go into the bye week. Obviously, a really, really difficult stretch awaits them after the bye with at LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama, and at Ole Miss. And I think that 4-game stretch is probably one that's going to define their season. But South Carolina, you look at how the game went, guys. I mean, the Gamecocks, couple scooping scores, couple defensive touchdowns. It's the recipe for South Carolina to win this year under Shane Beamer, it feels like, as a whole, because the offense, I think, still has issues. The offensive line still has issues. I think South Carolina, they just kind of are who they are in that bottom tier of teams. As we move forward to number 11, I would say from here on is where things are getting really, really, really interesting, guys. At number 11, I've got Mississippi State, a really spirited effort for the Dogs against Tennessee. I was not surprised at all. You might recall this is a game that I picked Mississippi State to beat Tennessee over the course of the offseason. Of course, changed my pick last week. I thought Tennessee would get the dub. Sure enough, the score was exactly what I picked at 41-34. No big deal. But either way, this team is leaps and bounds better than they were a season ago. Jeff Levy has got it figured out offensively. The duo of Bothwell and Booth in the backfield. Blake Shapen's made strides. They've got some weapons on the outside. I know defensively it's not going to be perfect, right? But they still are better than they were a season ago. They're at least giving their team a chance to win some ball games, forced a couple turnovers off Joey Aguilar. 11 for State feels right, but I think this is a State team that on any given week could jump up, beat anybody. I think they will score not just one SEC win, but a few SEC wins. I think bowl eligibility for the Dogs is a realistic expectation. Maybe it starts this weekend. That road trip to College Station Game could get very, very interesting. Guys, at number 10, my biggest faller of the week, the LSU Tigers. LSU's just a mess offensively. You can't run the football at all. Less than 60 rushing yards against an Ole Miss front that ranked outside of the top 100 in stopping the run. Garrett Nussmeier's play has been very inconsistent at best. Defensively, thank goodness for Blake Baker and company, what they've done, because if not for a vastly improved defense and arguably an elite defense, this team probably has 3 losses. I mean, realistically, they probably have 3 losses to their credit, losing games against Florida and Clemson. But the bottom line is they don't. But I wasn't totally stunned what happened in Oxford because, guys, LSU's been winning with smoke and mirrors. They've been winning, benefiting off the turnovers and off of the, just the defense playing so well that it's bailing them out. LSU's going to have to find a way to move the football, guys. Obviously, the Bayou Bengals in a bye week. They then host the South Carolina Gamecocks coming out of the bye. You got to really look yourself in the mirror and figure out who you are. Can LSU be physical up front? Are they going to be able to run the football at all? My gut tells me no, because this is the same question we asked all last year, and it never got resolved. It's crazy how porous this offense is. Maybe Joe Sloan, maybe there's some movement there down in the Bayou, but LSU at number 10, you can't produce any better than that offensively. This is where you belong. At number 9, guys, I've got the Texas Longhorns. Texas, of course, coming off the bye. They go to the Swamp this weekend. We'll see them in person. It's so weird, though. I feel like I have not seen Texas play a football game since the season opener when I was in attendance in Columbus, because they had those 3 cupcakes in a row and then they had a bye week. So all the questions we had around Texas going into the Ohio State game and certainly coming out of it, we have now going into the Swamp. I mean, nothing has changed for Texas, right? They've played a couple games, but nothing's changed. We're like, oh, we've learned this, this, and this, and we can draw this, and this conclusions about this team. None of that has happened. So really interesting weekend upcoming for the Longhorns. What do we learn about Texas? Again, they've been floating kind of middle of the pack, if you will, in these power rankings because of the way they played. Certainly a big opportunity for Texas to jump a few spots at least if they can go on the road and get a big SEC win. Guys, at number 8, I've got the Oklahoma Sooners. Now, this is one where I know I'm going to get pushback. Hear me out for a moment, okay? Oklahoma without John Mateer, and these rankings change on a week-in, week-out basis. They will inevitably change. If John Mateer is 100% this time next week, guess what, guys? Oklahoma's not in the 8 spot. But if I'm forced to do a power rankings with the known fact that if a game was played this week, Michael Hawkins is the starting quarterback, all due respect to him, it's going to affect my view of this team accordingly. And the fact of the matter is, guys, it does change the view of Oklahoma football if you take John Mateer out of the fold. I'm sure Michael Hawkins has improved since last year. But if he was that good, they wouldn't have gone out and got John Mateer. Oklahoma can't run the football conventionally. They've needed quarterback run game. They've had to get creative. John Mateer has been that team's entire offense. And now you're going to take him out. It changes that football team completely on the offensive side. The defense is still elite. It doesn't mean Oklahoma, even without John Mateer, would be a bad football team, but they're not a college football playoff football team. So this is why I've slid Oklahoma down to the 8th spot. The moment John Mateer is back at 100%, and maybe it's next week in the Red River Shootout, guys. I hope so. Wink, wink. I hope so. I hope it is, right? If and when he is back, these rankings will change. But I know there's a lot of pushback from the folks down there in Norman, and it's nothing personal. But you take John Mateer off that football team, guys, it drops the win total of this team by 2 or 3 games. Let's just call it what it is. It does. Changes the ceiling drastically without him, hence the adjustment in this week's power rankings. At number 7, I've got the Vanderbilt Commodores. Guys, Diego Pavia and company are 5-0 going on the road to Tuscaloosa. Who'd have ever thought Bama and Vandy would get College game day in T-Town, but that is the case. The trash talk has already begun. Man, can you imagine if Vandy's sitting here 6-0, ranked inside the top 10, coming off a win over the Alabama Crimson Tide? It's almost hard to fathom. It's almost hard to believe. Credit Clark Lee and company. Vandy has looked incredible. You could argue they should be ranked higher. I mean, listen, everybody's going to look at that fat V and say, oh, it's Vanderbilt. It's Vanderbilt. You better get rid of that school of thinking, guys. I'm telling you, this Vanderbilt team is just a good football team. It has nothing to do with who they've played and whatever. And this will certainly be their stiffest test. But Vandy's a good football team, period. Should be a fun one this weekend in Tuscaloosa. Guys, at number 6, speaking of good football teams, I got the Missouri Tigers. I think this Mizzou team is not getting talked about enough. I think Ahmad Hardy should be the leader in the clubhouse for the Heisman Trophy. They're coming off, obviously, the big win on homecoming against UMass. No big deal. But going into the bye week, Mizzou's got as good a chance at the college football playoff as anybody that we're going to talk about. I mean, guys, the big debate is this. Not to already bring this up, but who's the best team in the SEC? It's a wide open conversation, and I think it's a conversation where the answer to that question is going to change on a week-in, week-out basis. I really do. Guys, at number 5, I've got the Tennessee Volunteers. Tennessee coming off with a big win at Mississippi State in Starkville. Kudos. I'll give you credit. Listen, Joey Aguilar, the victim of a couple tip balls, so I don't really hold him. I'm not going to grade him that harshly because of the balls were tipped, and there's not much you can do when the ball gets tipped up in the air. So I thought he played well. There's questions for Tennessee defensively, no doubt. But, again, there is no such thing as a bad road win in the SEC. I still like Tennessee's position a lot. Obviously, coming out of the bye, Arkansas at home, and then that big one on the road at Alabama. That will be an absolutely electric football game. Tennessee in the 5 spot for me, guys. And number 4, the Georgia Bulldogs come in at 4 after losing to Alabama on their home field. And, guys, I'll just say this. I could see Georgia sliding back to 1. Georgia still very well may end up being the best team in the SEC, but they obviously had to drop after losing the football game, after losing to Bama again. It just keeps happening. Love the way Georgia ran the football. Certainly you can question the play calling there at the end of the game on the 4th and goal. Should they have kicked it? Question Georgia defensively, question the slow starts. I still do trust Kirby Smart and company to get this thing figured out and get it right. I mean, again, guys, having the conversation of who's the best team in the SEC, I think you could still sit here and say that it's Georgia. I do. It sounds ludicrous right now, but if you told me a month from now we're picking the combo back up of, oh, yeah, Georgia's got 1 loss and they're playing Texas and then they beat Texas at home, and it's like, well, it was Georgia all along. That wouldn't shock me. The Bama-Georgia thing is just its whole other thing. This whole other set of demons that Georgia, I don't know that they'll ever get over it. Maybe they will one day, but Georgia at 4, not worried about them. I still think this team's a college football playoff team. Got some things to shore up. Again, they got to start quicker. They got to be better on 3rd downs. I think they got to get a little more out of Gunnar Stockton and get more comfortable running him, just design quarterback runs. But Georgia's going to be fine. I have no doubts about it. Number 3, guys, I slid Alabama all the way to the number 3 spot. I was just waiting on Bama to prove it to me. I didn't care what you did against ULM. I didn't care what you did against Wisconsin. I wanted to see it against Georgia. Job well done, Crimson Tide. A little golf clap for you. Job well done. Job well done. That's all I was asking for. Just wanted to see you do it against the best. You did it. My Ty Simpson Heisman ticket looks better and better every single week. They've got weapons all over the place. Kalen DeBoer, coming off a bye week, would probably beat Nick Saban. I mean, he is the greatest coach of all time coming off of a bye week. He and Ryan Grubb were in their bag all night long in Athens, and the defense obviously did just enough, bowed up when they had to, forced a big turnover. It was just a reminder Saturday night in Athens that Alabama is still extremely talented. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. They were reminded us all they are extremely talented. Can they put it together the rest of the way? We shall see. We shall see. But Alabama certainly going to have a large part to say in who goes to Atlanta and who goes to the SEC title. At number 2, I've got the Texas A&M Aggies. Guys, A&M is for real. And I may be eating these words in a week. Who knows? A&M could A&M and go lose to Mississippi State. But right now, I'm going to give Mike Elko and Texas A&M the benefit of the doubt. You had that big win against Notre Dame. Defense got torched, though, coming out of the bye week. You shut down Auburn. I get it. It's a hapless Auburn team. But, guys, like, if you take the A&M logo off the helmet and put any other logo and you just look at the roster, I don't think it's much of a debate that A&M is one of the best, if not the best team in the conference. Marcel Reed has taken steps forward. The receiver room might be the best in the country. The offensive line is big, physical, and veteran. The running back room might be the best in the country. And then you got a Mike Elko-led defense. And I believe in Mike Elko when it comes to the defensive side. All he does is spit out good defenses. If they navigate a way to go 8-4 or 9-3 again, so be it. But right now, you got to give credit where credit's due. A&M deserves all of that credit. And then some of the guys at number 1, speaking of giving credit, hotty toddy, gosh almighty, who the hell are we? Flim flam, bim bam, Ole Miss, by damn. The Ole Miss Rebels come in at number 1 for me. I mean, Lane Kiffin and company, say what you want about him. Trinidad Chambliss is not human. That is the point. That is the point. Offensively, they are clicking on all cylinders, as you would expect a Lane Kiffin offense to do. And then defensively, guys, what Pete Golding was able to do to LSU with 3 down linemen, right? So many different looks and pressures, and I love to see the strides they've made on the defensive side. Guys, again, you got to give credit where credit's due. Ole Miss with the best win of the weekend, in my opinion, or at least one of the best. Obviously, Bama beating Georgia on the road would be the best. Ole Miss, one of the best wins of the weekend. This Ole Miss team, man, is really, really good. And like I said, Trinidad Chambliss, I don't know that anybody can stop this kid at this point. They got to bye Washington State at home. They'll win at Georgia October 18th and at Oklahoma October 25th. Circle your calendars for those 2 games. I think that 2-game stretch arguably will define what Ole Miss is in terms of a college football playoff team or not. But I think there's a path for Ole Miss to get to Atlanta, guys. I really do. I don't think it's crazy. But again, this kind of symbolizes and it kind of gives a snapshot of where we are with this season. Who is the best team in the SEC at this point? I mean, truly, there's 5 or 6 of these teams, maybe 7, maybe 8, that you can make a realistic case they're the best teams in the SEC, or they're the best team in the SEC. Every one of these teams has flaws. Every one of these teams have holes. Every one of these teams have strengths. It is going to be a wacky, wacky finish to the season as we enter the month of October. We're getting into spooky season. It's going to be a spooky October for some of these teams. There's no doubt. So, guys, I'd love to hear from you. Thoughts? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? How would you power rank the teams of the SEC entering week number 6 of the season? Guys, it's going to do all for me. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Before we get out of here, I do want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we are brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel's got you ready for the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get 300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, bet $5. If it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets used all across the app. You can build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines. Whatever your style, FanDuel's got you covered. The NFL season is here. The MLB playoffs are here. College football's in full swing. NHL and NBA are around the corner. Guys, whatever you want to bet on, they've got it. The only question is, are you ready to play? Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Once again, FanDuel.com/SECU to get in on the action today. Guys, once again, that's going to do all for me. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Like I mentioned, make sure you like and subscribe as we chase to 30,000 subscribers on YouTube. Also, check us out where you get your podcast, all the social media platforms, and our website, secunfiltered.com. Till next time, I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, and we will catch you all on the other side.